Hi, everybody. It's Matt from Discover College Soccer. I hope you're enjoying the podcast, whether that's on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I also wanted to let you know about the Discover College Soccer Study Table. This is our brand new online portal that is complete with a 14-part online course giving you all of the ins and outs of the college soccer recruiting process. There's also a wealth of resources such as checklists, templates. There's the spreadsheets that have every soccer program in the country, along with their coaches, their contact information, their social media information, some basic stats about the school, and more. Plus, there's an online community where you can ask your questions, share your wins, your losses, any questions that you may have around the college soccer recruiting process. It's all there at the Discover College Soccer study table that you can find at discovercollegesoccer.com/study table, and hopefully we will see you there. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to talk to one of my buddies I haven't seen in ages, Coach Jay at Columbus State. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here. It's been too long, that's for sure. And, I grew up in a different Columbus, Ohio. My dad taught at a different Columbus State, which was a community college. So we're talking Columbus, Georgia, for those who don't know what we're talking about. And you and I met a long time ago when you were at Tampa, and you've just had a tremendous run there at Columbus State. I mean, just so many NCAA tournament appearances, a natty. You guys are just amazing things going on there. So I'm really excited to talk to you, see what people can learn about the recruiting process, about your school, and everything else. So one of the things you and I were just talking about, we both got, your daughter's 1 year older than mine, but kind of going through the same process, and we're a week after the old June 15th deadline or starting gun for you guys. And so were you rushing to pick up a phone and call all these rising? Did you have a pool of people you wanted to talk to, or what's kind of your recruiting calendar? When do you start really focusing and trying to pull people in?
Yeah, no, great question, man. I think the important thing for all of the players out there is just because you don't get a call on June 15th doesn't mean things are not going to work out. But no, we take a little bit different approach. We know that the recruiting landscape is massive, and we know that a lot of the Division I schools have a little bit more ease to communicate with players because they've got 4 and 5 coaches calling, whereas my staff, it's really myself, Coach Joe, my assistant. I do have a grad assistant, but unfortunately she just graduated and she's looking for another job. So really a big part of it fell on Coach Joe and myself. But really, honestly, Coach Joe was really good about picking up the phone and communicating, and just trying to plant seeds, because we know that for a lot of these young ladies, and I can only talk about ladies because that's the world we live in. But yeah, a lot of them are going to get recruited by big schools, and they've got a lot more resources than we do. We're a Division II university. We like to say we're a medium-sized school, but we don't have this ridiculous amount of money. And nowadays, I think one of the issues with the amount of money that us as parents spend on our own children playing ECNL or GA or ECNLR or whatever league that these kids play in, we're spending an exorbitant amount of money in hopes that we get a return on our investment. So it's tricky, Matt. It's tricky.
Yeah, well, for sure. Well, you mentioned, the alphabet soup of leagues, and I know you're getting ready to head off. So your daughter's got a tournament or ECNL event soon. So do you, as a coach, do you care about those letters? Do you, what events are you spending most of your time at? Where are you looking for players? What's that look like?
Probably for us here at Columbus State, it's we're more of a regional based school. So a good majority of the players that come to us are from kind of like the Southeast. So, but honestly, Matt, if you look at our roster of say 28 players, um, we have the entire alphabet soup, as you'd call it. We have ECNL players, we have ECNLR players, we have GA players, we have state level players. I mean, the list goes on, and it's almost one of those things where We as a staff have realized that it's no bearing as to what letters follow your name. Heck, this last year, I think we had 4 All-Americans. One was an ECNLR player. One was like a state league player. Another one, I'm trying to think, she was ECNL. And then our last one was an international. So in the end, you had 4 different leagues represented. And we at Columbus State, and I know there's many schools out there that don't care about what alphabet you're playing in, as long as you're playing at a high level and you're getting minutes. And I think if I could share any sort of feedback with players, it's it's so much better to be on a team where you're playing consistently versus maybe going to the number 1 team in the state, but you're only getting 5 minutes a game. And so we here at our university, we will never ever say to a kid, the team you're playing on is not very good. You got to go play at a higher level. We never say that. We say, listen, if you're getting 90 minutes and you're having to go to the proving ground every day and compete, man, we're happy that you're getting minutes. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, I love that. Well, you mentioned an international player. I've interviewed a lot of Division II schools, both men's and women's, and obviously it's a little different on the men's side, but international tends to be a heavy focus, really, even on the Division II level. But you guys only have a couple; it's really not. And so, does international recruiting play a role at all? And also, what about transfer portal? Is that becoming a bigger thing in your world now as well?
Yeah, I think Matt, one of the things, like, I look at our roster, I think we have 2, maybe 3 international players tops. One of them I don't even consider an international. She played down your way at IMG.
Right.
And so with all the coaching courses I've done down at IMG and meeting a bunch of you all down there, I've become pretty good buddies with the IMG staff, and we found a really good player via Newcastle slash Dubai. But she spent 2 years at IMG and came to us. Our other international, Maria, was from Norway, and honestly didn't really have any sort of connections, but we saw some game tape and liked her. She graduated, which freed up some money, some international money that we had, and we ended up signing a U20 Colombian player coming in this fall. So we're really excited about her. But yeah, other than that, a lot of our players are kind of what I consider almost like a homegrown player coming out of high school. We've got, I think, 6 incoming freshmen that all played, whether it be regionally and ECNL, ECNLR, state leagues, national leagues, so to speak. We do have a transfer. We actually have 2 transfers coming in. So the transfer portal is important. I wouldn't say it's the end all be all, but we have a very unique situation. And a young lady who played for us as a freshman left after her freshman year, went to a school on the West Coast because it's where her family retired to, and she missed Georgia. So she's moving back. So that's one of our transfers. The other was a young lady who, because I work for US Soccer, was doing some youth national training centers. She was one of our training center kids, went to university, wasn't really getting the minutes she wanted. And we graduated a goalkeeper, so she's coming to us. So I don't know, Matt, it's, I guess if you're looking at percentages, we've got, I think, 9 new players coming in. 6 are American incoming freshmen. 1 is an international, and then we have our 2 transfers. So, I think for the most part on the women's side, we still feel that getting freshmen here at Columbus State that have played regionally, we really like those kids because we can develop them over time and groom them. On the men's side, I don't know, brother. It's my son. I have a rising senior, and I think he's pretty darn talented, but he's not getting a sniff anywhere. I mean, I feel like the men's game has gone completely international, and I hate it because he's got a lot of talent and he's just not getting many bites, you
Yeah.
know.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a changing world out there, right?
Yep,
Well,
for
and one of the changes that we've seen, I think, over the past maybe 10 years or so is just the proliferation of ID camps, right? And ID clinics being a big part of it. So, do you guys have your own ID clinics? Do you and your staff work other people's? How does that fit into your recruiting process?
yeah, I think Matt, one of the things that maybe that is a little bit different here at Columbus State, where because we're a medium-sized university, we do everything we can to limit the amount of kids that come to our ID camp. We have one field. We want to make sure our staff is here and watching every single kid. And so we limit it to 40 kids, no more than 40. And my entire staff is here, and we learn every kid's name, and we know um, our staff, not me, but our younger staff, they do go out to other ID camps, and I think it's super important. And they have found kids at other ID camps. But the one thing, Matt, is some of these camps are they're asking a considerable amount of money for your kid to come, and and they're also inviting close to 200 kids. And so, to me, I'm not sure that I would really consider that an ID camp per se.
Right.
A big part of that is how much money can they make. And so, just being honest, I think, and I want to be careful of my own daughter, who's a rising junior. I want to make sure if I send her to an ID camp that she actually is a human being and being considered for that program versus, going on, the field and the pasture, 2 miles off campus.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I think a lot of that happens. I'm going to make sure that my money is well spent, so to speak, and I want to make sure she gets considered because, again, with the money that we pay for our children to play and travel soccer, um, adding on to that, these ID camps are getting absurd. They're getting very, very high priced, and so we here at Columbus State have kept our costs down. We don't charge, $500 for one day. I think that's absurd. And and we only offer two. We're not doing it every week. We
Yeah.
do one in the summer, one in the winter, and we hope the kids can find the time if they're interested to come down.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Yeah, I got lucky. My daughter went to St. Leo a couple weeks ago. 33 kids. It was great.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah,
That's
gotta love it.
great.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the school. I'm sure there's folks out there maybe not familiar with Columbus State. You've been there a few years at this point. So kind of give me some great things about the school, some things you love the most, maybe some stuff we wouldn't even learn by going through the website.
Yeah, man, I've been here 20 years, and it's been, I'd like to say it's been all roses, but for sure it's not. I mean, there are some things that we have to work on. We've been fighting the school on getting ourselves our own athletic weight room, so that's something that is being built right now. We've got the flooring down. We've ordered all the equipment. So that's one thing. We've had to share a weight room for the last couple of years with all the students on campus. So finally getting our own weight room. Columbus, Georgia is located, and I have to make sure I reference this. It's now called Fort Moore. It used to be called Fort Benning, Georgia. It's one of the largest military bases in the country, but it's now Fort Moore. So we are kind of one of those situations where we love where we're at. We're an hour and a half south of Atlanta. We are blessed to have a wonderful university with a plethora of academic majors that our kids can kind of take. One thing you might not read on the internet is the women's soccer team just had the highest GPA of all the sports on campus. So our overall GPA was a 3.73. And so super, super proud of our young ladies. And, these are young ladies that are studying, nursing, engineering, pre-law. So it's not like we're all here taking these easy classes. So it's been a good run academically for us. this past season we had a successful year and trying to get ourselves to the national championship. We won the conference again, won a couple rounds in the NCAA tournament. So it's nice. We ended up beating West Florida in the Elite Eight to go to the Final Four, and we're actually down 3-1 with 17 to play. So that was pretty exciting, and ran into a tough Western Washington team out west, and lost in the semis. But got a nice group returning, and overall, I feel like one of the things that we make sure that we do everything we can is to develop kids. We know when kids get here, they're not 5-star players, meaning that they have all 5 tools, right? And so we pride ourselves on, if a kid is willing to work hard and reciprocate, we want to help them with the qualities that they're missing. So that's kind of our bread and butter here.
Okay. Well, awesome. Well, let's fast forward to this upcoming fall season. Can you just walk me quickly through what a typical week looks like in terms of when our classes, practice, meals, travel, game cadence, all that? What's that look like for you all?
Yeah, that question comes up a lot with our recruits. We are an afternoon training team, so one of those. I always tell people, a lot of these coaches want to train at 6 a.m. and I go, listen, let me look at your schedule. Do you play games at 6 a.m.? No. So we're a 3 to 5 in the afternoon. A lot of our kids are in from 8 o'clock all the way to about 2:45. So we practice 3 to 5. We are another team that every now and then we're going to train at night under the lights if we have a night game. So we kind of prep our kids. We typically will play 2 games a week. Right now, it's almost like on a Wednesday, Saturday schedule. Every now and then we'll go Friday, Sunday. We are also a team that I believe in academics, so I try my best not to stay overnight if we don't have to. So, Matt, we're going to the game, we play, we turn around and come home. So we do everything we can not to miss school, which I find very unique at the Division I level. There's a lot of programs that are going, not 1 but 2 days early to get their athletes there, and they're missing classes. And to me, I think it's super important for our kids to be in school. So, but yeah, overall, our kids are, do a really nice job in the classroom, and they compete, on the field. It's just one of those things that we really try and find a life and balance at the Division II level.
No, I love that. Well, you mentioned earlier roster of about 28. Is that kind of your ideal size that you're trying to hit each year?
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those things where we don't punish kids, Matt, if they miss practice for classes, and we have a lot of nursing majors that may miss a couple practices. So we want to make sure we can go what we call 11s, and play 11v11 in training. And oftentimes we might be missing 4 or 5 kids each day in practice. So we typically will have 3 to 4 goalkeepers and about 24, 25 field players. Now, even within that 24, 25 field players, we also have injuries. So we've taken 1 or 2 injuries a year. So that's a part of life. So typically on any given day, we'll have 22 healthy bodies, and we can at least play 11v11 at practice.
No, that makes sense. Well, you talked about your staff earlier, but how would you describe kind of just your style of coaching and the team style of play?
We attack a lot, Matt. People ask me all the time, like, "Hey, can you send me a session on defending?" And I'm like, "We don't have any." So we love the ball. We play out of a 3-6-1 right now, and we're very top heavy in the central midfield, and we have a lot of interchanging of players. We've got really good wingers, so we try and build through our midfield. The biggest thing for us is we want to play out of the back. We don't want to punt. We don't want to go long on goal kicks. We want to build. We want to keep the ball on the ground. We're not very direct at all. We're probably the weakest part of our games are heading. So, we've got footballers and they're brave at every position, even our goalkeepers. So, ultimately, that's kind of our style. And those are the kids that we look for that can solve pressure through dribbling, through passing. They don't panic. I'll be going out to San Diego in 2 days, and that's kind of what I'll be looking for every time I go out. We're not the team that wants these big, huge, strong athletes that can't trap a ball, they can't pass a ball, but they'll run over you. Like we don't like that. I want kids that can play soccer. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you mentioned, things that you're looking for. So besides just the ability to play, right, and keep at it, what else is it that you're looking for in a player, whether it's on the field or off the field stuff?
Yeah, a big thing is recoverability. We talk about that a lot within our program, and when kids make mistakes, don't put your head down. What is your behavior? 1 to 2 seconds after a mistake happens, and I talk to my own children about it a lot. And my son's going through this phase where he'll make a bad pass, and right away his head goes down. And I said, listen, that's not good behavior right after a mistake. And so we talk about that. We talk about not giving up. And, sure as heck, if we go down 3-1 with 17 to play against West Florida, our kids didn't give up and they fought back and we ended up winning 4-3. We didn't even go to overtime. And so, those are some key things. And, nowadays with social media, our assistant coach is not me because I'm a dinosaur, but our assistants are on the internet. They're on Twitter, they're on Instagram and Snapchat. And so if we see kids that are not modeling good behavior, we don't recruit them that. I mean, I hate to say it, this is God's honest truth. And we've stopped recruiting several kids because of their TikTok videos or their behavior on Instagram and the old red Solo cups. I don't think kids realize, like, you and I were their age once, and we know we don't really drink water out of a red Solo cup. So, but kids don't. They think that we're dumb. They think we don't realize, what's in a picture. Pictures can say 1,000 words, man.
Absolutely. Well, hey man, I really appreciate all the time and all the things we've talked about. I want to leave you with one last question though. For any parent, player, family going through this college recruiting process, if you had one piece of advice, one nugget to leave them with, what would that be?
Well, I think what I'm learning as a parent is sometimes, having children that play, I'm learning that the return on your investment is not always the exact same, or you're going to benefit from it. So, I have conversation with my wife all the time. Like I see so much joy in going with my children to these events all over the country and spending time with them, and how sports teaches such great lessons. And I know all of us as parents go, well, if I spend $4,000 a season for my kid to play soccer, then in return I should get a $4,000 scholarship somewhere. And it just doesn't work that way. And I think the lessons that our kids are learning by being involved in sports and the travel and the teamwork, that's going to benefit in the end. So, I'm learning that wholeheartedly right now, having a junior and a senior in high school and realizing it may not work out for one of them or two of them, or maybe it will. It's a gamble. And I tell my own children all the time, look, I'm going to bet on you. You guys are my kids. I'm going to bet on you that it's going to work out. So let's keep fighting.
Absolutely. And your ROI, like you said, it's that time spent with them, the
Yeah,
enjoyment
for
they
sure.
get, the lessons learned for sure. As I know it on the 13-hour slog my daughter and I had on our way back from Greensboro checking out schools. So I hear you,
Yeah,
man. It's
it's
good
awesome.
stuff. Yeah,
It's
I
awesome.
can't beat it. Well, hey, man, thank you so much. Wish you the best of luck in the fall. And let me know when you're down for the ECNL events here in
Oh,
Bradenton,
right. Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Well, I'm sure I went down to my son and went
yeah,
down to my daughter. So yeah,
yeah.
we're down that way all the time, Lakewood Ranch and
Yeah.
Sanford.
Well, give me a shout because I'm
Okay.
here in Lakewood Ranch, man. All right.
All right, brother.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Okay. See you,
Take
man.
care.
All
Bye.
right. Ciao.